The seat of power in the organized crime scene in the Big Apple has been a bone of contention between 5 mafia families for decades. These mafia families of New York have been usurpers, battles of succession, murder, mayhem, jail time, and all kinds of crimes unimaginable. Let's take a look at the lives of some members of these notorious crime syndicates. In most cities with a mafia presence, a single crime syndicate or mafia family is on top of the illegal operations taking place. In New York, however, there are 5. The Gambino, Genovese, Lucchese, Colombo, and Bonanno families are Italian-American mafia families that have been embroiled in a battle for power in the city for decades. In 1931, after decades of bloodshed, Salvatore Maranzano, a Brooklyn bootlegger, organized the 5 families under a single banner and set himself up as the capo di tutti capi, or boss of all bosses. He was soon killed off, and the heads of the families chose to rule together, renaming his organization the Commission. This was the onset of their complete takeover of the crime scene in New York. Let's take a closer look at the families. The ranks of the Gambino family are filled with some of the most colorful mobsters in history. Albert Anastasia, Vincent Mongano, Carlo Gambino, and the infamous John Gotti are just some of the known crime bosses that headed the family at different times, each of them meeting a bloody end at the hands of their successors or other criminal activities. The most recent news from the family was about the murder of acting boss Frank Cali outside his residence in 2019. The family operated like a well-oiled machine under the reign of partners Tommy Lucchese and Tommy Gagliano during the U.S. Prohibition years. Things went much more public, and not in a good way, after their successor Carmine Tramunti was convicted in 1973 due to his connections to French heroin smuggling rings. Anthony Tony Ducks Corallo bought things back under wraps during his reign, and earned notoriety for the JFK Airport Lufthansa heist in 1978. However, his reign ended with conviction in the mid-'80s, and paved the way for the bloody reign of Anthony Gaspipe Casso and Vicamuso. The latter's bloody ways scared one of his lieutenants into defecting, and got him arrested in the 1990s. He continued running things from behind bars for many years after. Known as the Ivy League of the Mafia due to its sheer size, initially headed by Lucky Luciano, the family was famous for its loan sharking and gambling operations. The family's code of silence called Omerta was legendary. From Frank Costello to Vito Genovese to Vincent the Chin Gigante, the family was headed by many powerful dons. Most interesting, perhaps, though, Gigante, who was also called the Odd Father because he walked through Greenwich in a tattered robe, muttering to himself, tried to seem insane to avoid being convicted by the FBI. Interesting tactic, no? The Bonanno family is one of the oldest families in the American mafia scene and has been embroiled in scandal more times than one can count. Starting from Maranzano's assassination, ordered by Luciano, after the former brought the families together, the Bonanno family has seen instability in many ways. 26-year-old Joe Bonanno took over the family as Maranzano's successor and strengthened ties with the Profacci family, but was forced to flee after his plans to take out Carlo Gambino and Tony Lucchese came to light. His departure left a vacuum in leadership that started the Bonanno War. Carmine Galante, the next acting boss, brought more trouble to the family's doorstep by getting into tiffs over drug operations with rival gangs. He was assassinated in 1979. The family then fell into more trouble as FBI agent Joe Pistone infiltrated their ranks under the alias of Donnie Brasco. However, the family was able to gain back some control under the reign of Big Joey Massino, until he became the first mafia boss to turn FBI informant in 2003. Founded in 1928, the Colombo family is the youngest of the New York Mafia families. It was started by Joe Profacci, an olive oil importer with nefarious side gigs which included prostitution, narcotics, and extortion. The Don faced a mutiny led by Crazy Joe Gallo and his brothers in the 1960s. Joe Colombo took over from them, and under his new leadership, the family gained a lot of media attention, That subsequently led to an assassination attempt in 1971 that left him comatose. The family fell back into civil war in the 1990s as members tried to overthrow Carmine Persico, who was running operations from behind bars. The family still runs strong because of their hold on concrete and cement unions. To understand the workings of these mafia families better, let's take a look at the lives of some of the most prominent mafia men of New York. Touted as the father of organized crime in America, Italian mafia boss Charles "Lucky" Luciano is considered the most powerful and influential mobster of all time. He began a career in crime by leading a group of young Jewish and Italian mobsters against older, more established criminals. Over time, he used his cunning connections to take out the older generation, including Salvatore Maranzano. Maranzano's assassination freed the position of the leader of the commission. The crime syndicate included the dons of the popular New York mafia families. Luciano inherited one of said popular New York mafia families, which would later come to be known as the Genovese family. His very prominent role as the chairman of the commission made him a public figure, and he caught the attention of law enforcement agencies. He was sentenced to 30 to 50 years in state prison on 62 charges of compulsory prostitution. However, he helped authorities keep New York docks sabotage-free and safe during World War II, which earned him a reduced sentence, and he was deported to Italy. He spent the end of his life in his birth country and spoke of America fondly to any American tourists or sailors visiting Italy. He died of a heart attack at Naples Airport in 1962, where he was meeting a movie producer who was considering making a biography on the father of organized crime in the U.S. The most popular American mafia boss from the late 1950s until his death in 1976, Carlo Gambino had a disarming smile that belied his razor-sharp criminal savvy. Born in Sicily, the made man came to the U.S. as a 19-year-old hitman. He went to work with his cousins for Prohibition-era mobster Salvatore Todo de Acquia. After the old generation of mob bosses were killed in a series of ambushes and the newer American crime syndicate era began, he killed Albert Anastasia and took control of what would come to be known as the Gambino family for the next 19 years. Under his reign, the Gambino family grew their business and profited handsomely. He died of natural causes in his home, a death not many mafia dons are able to achieve, and may perhaps make him one of the most successful mafiosos of all time. That's a wrap for this video. Did you know about any of these mafia bosses? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.